The following portion of Bloom is sponsored by Lifeguard Imaging.
Coming up on Bloom, how cutting-edge diagnostic technology can save your life.
And we went and had a scan, and they found my cancer, and I was able to take my health into my own hands and get on the right path.
Plus, why women are taking to social media to share their IUD experiences. And we're whipping up a delicious spring smoothie to jumpstart your health. We'll have all that and more as Bloom, presented by Lifeguard Imaging, starts now. I'm Gayle Guyardo. Welcome to Bloom, presented by Lifeguard Imaging. The integration of artificial intelligence and the advancement of diagnostic trends is shaping a future where people are not only getting a more accurate picture of their health, but also more accessibility to patient-centric treatments. And now, elements of AI are being used in an innovative scan people have access to right here in Tampa Bay. We are one of only 6 places in the country where you can take your health into your own hands and screen for heart disease and hundreds of forms of cancer before it's too late. We hear so many life-saving stories from real people who have taken advantage of this incredible technology from Lifeguard Imaging. And today, we're bringing you yet another one. Joining me now from Lifeguard Imaging is the Vice President of Business Development, former Tampa Bay Buccaneer and NFL great Martine Gramatica, with Cindy Withers, who is here to share her life-saving story. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gayle.
And Cindy, so great to see you doing so well, and that would not have been the case if it had not been for Lifeguard Imaging.
Absolutely not. No, absolutely not. This all started back in February. My husband had a sudden cardiac arrest, and Martine is a good family friend. He heard about his heart attack, and he called and to check on Ernie, and he just encouraged us to come and have a full body scan done. And we took him up on it, and we both went and had it done. We were both in great health, we thought. I had just had my yearly physical, and my doctor actually said the words, "Cindy, you have the kidneys of a 17-year-old.
Wow.
So it just goes to show you that you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know what's going on in your body. And we went and had a scan, and they found my cancer, and I was able to take my health into my own hands and get on the right path, and
And you found this
yes.
out at a stage where they could treat the cancer. Didn't the oncologist say, man, have you had waited, it could have been much worse?
It could have been so much worse because it was already the size of a softball.
Wow.
Yes.
And was it on your kidney?
It was completely contained inside my kidney, which is another fortunate thing because it hadn't spread.
Yeah, and I think, Martine, when you hear these stories and you look at Cindy, who looks like the epitome of health, a lot of people think, well, I get my regular checkups and I feel good, I look good, I'm okay, but you never know until you take a look, and your technology is like none other.
No, that's exactly right, Gayle. The way we program our scanner, we can detect a shadow as small as a 2 millimeter, which is the tip of the opening of a pin. And in Cindy's case, the doctors were predicting if she would have scanned just a month after her scan, she would have needed a chemo and radiation. And we know that diseases are horrible, but the treatment at times is equally as bad, if not worse. And then if she would have waited 6 months to scan, it would have metastasized. So that's why it's so important. If anybody said things that I want to do the scan, I want to do a full body scan, the sooner they come in and the sooner we set the baseline on their body, the sooner we can start monitoring them, potentially have their life saved. In Cindy's case, it was a month away from needing chemo and radiation. It's incredible what this technology is doing.
Yeah, and I hear people say, I don't want to know. I want to know. And Cindy, I know you wanted to know. I mean, you have this incredible family. You have this unity. I mean, you spend time together. To think that could have all been gone had you not had your life saved by finding out this diagnosis.
It definitely would have been a different outcome. My life would have been definitely shortened, if not ended, if I hadn't found out what was really going on.
Yeah, it is a definite game changer. And what I think is so great, it's like we send our viewers in for a free heart scan, no strings attached,
Correct.
but then you can sign up to get the cancer screening. And I even got my bone density back, and I thought I was doing fantastic and found that I'm in the osteopenia stage. So I'm taking preventative measures. Now, there's so much you can learn by becoming part of the Legacy program.
Yes, Gail, if the patient chooses just to do the heart scans, there's no string attached, they're not even paying for a reading fee, they're not paying for the results, they're not paying for anything. Now they're going to meet with a patient advocate that's going to explain our program. And like I said, the Legacy program is when we're having unmatched success in capturing things early, because if the baseline scan's fine, now the follow-up scan may find something. Now you have that where it's only a year from each scan, and then we're going to every scan is going to be compared to the year prior. So if anything were to develop, we're going to catch it early. And not only that, with good quality of life, which that's what we just talked about.
Yeah.
Catching it early, patients have good quality of life.
Well, Cindy, we're so glad you're doing well. We love you and your husband so much, and we appreciate you sharing your story with our Bloom viewers.
Thank you so much, and thank you to Lifeguard Imaging.
Yeah, definitely. All right, you heard Cindy's powerful story. Don't delay. Call today right now, 813-582-5222, or visit lifeguardimaging.com. You'll receive a Bloom special offer, a free heart scan when you mention Gayle or Bloom. That's a $599 value, so call today for this special offer. We'll be back with more Bloom right after this.
The preceding portion of Bloom was sponsored by Lifeguard Imaging.
You're watching Bloom, presented by Lifeguard Imaging, saving lives through early detection. Call now, 813-582-5222 to schedule your scan today. Crucial trends are happening right now that are shaping the future of diagnostics. Joining me now with what to be on the lookout for is triple board certified physician, Dr. Lisa Coach. Dr. Coach, it's always so great to see you.
Great to be here.
So these are exciting times between AI and new tests on the market. It's pretty phenomenal.
It's very exciting because in the past, I would want to send patients for screening tests, but there were a lot of false positive, which means that they would be on a goose chase, get really nervous, and it would turn out to be nothing. So it feels like today the tech has finally caught up, where we're not getting nearly the amount of false positives, and it's really worth looking into some of these newer scans.
And some of the scans that you stand behind would be a coronary CT scan and something called Clearly.
Yeah, so this is what's hot in cardiac prevention. And they've had coronary CAT scans around for some time, but typically it was a score from 0 to 1,000, and you'd see if you had calcium buildup, and that was helpful. But now there's imaging with some of these newer machines that look literally like you are in the cath lab. I have never seen anything like it. So you can get images just from doing a CAT scan, very minimal radiation, minimal amount of dye, and then we can take a look, the cardiologist can take a look and really tell you if it looks like there's plaque, if there's a cath that's needed. And then AI comes in for a formula that's called Clearly. This is a company that will take those scans and then identify more in depth whether or not it looks like it's a plaque that's more prone to rupture or something maybe that you can wait on and do more aggressive therapy for.
And we've really gotten into a place in our society and with medical treatment, and you've been preaching this for as long as I've known you, and that's a pretty long time, that preventative medicine is way more important than reactive.
And it's so exciting because we can now do these scans and then we can do intervention of sorts, whether it's medication or more natural interventions, dietary, exercise, and then we can retest, and we're actually seeing regression, which is really exciting.
That is so exciting. All right, the next one is called Prenuvo. What's that?
So Prenuvo is a company that has taken the most cutting-edge MRI technology to the marketplace. So it's a full-body scan, and what they're doing is recommending this every couple of years, and you can catch very small cancers before they become something significant. And I've already had a patient who the urologist said we probably saved him from maybe even his life, but at least from a lifetime of potential complications, because he had absolutely no symptoms, totally normal blood work, totally normal exam, and he had prostate cancer that was about to get into his bloodstream, and we caught it on this full body MRI.
Wow, that's incredible. All right, the next one, I don't know if we're talking about this one enough, and that's a DEXA scan, because I've had girlfriends of mine say, well, my doctor said that, you know, bones start to decay with time, you don't really need the scan, but there's so much you can do now to reverse, you know, when you start to lose bone density.
Yeah, and it's like any other test, right? If we're seeing abnormalities everywhere, the default becomes, well, that's normal, and it's not. But most women do start to have bone loss, and some men as well, you know, starting at a pretty young age, especially if you're not eating well, if your pH is more acidic, you can lose bone. So looking with a DEXA, which is a specific type of scanner that can tell us bone density, but also even where your muscle mass lies and how much like visceral fat you have. So DEXA scanners can do more even than just bone. Getting that information, we can do things to reverse it, to build our bone back. And the more we study longevity, that muscle mass and bone strength is what's going to keep us functional and feeling great and preventing disease down the line.
Yeah, my husband and I just both did the Lifeguard imaging scan, which scans the heart, it scans for the cancer, and then it also does a DEXA scan, or I should say a bone density scan. And it did show me in the osteopenia range, which is normal for my age, but what I didn't realize until I started doing the research is that there's so much that you can do. I mean, I was already doing the resistance training, you know, aggressively and very diligently, but, you know, from supplementations to, like you say, even hormone replacement, which is something that you specialize in, could make a difference in that.
We see that every single day. We get people more optimized with their hormones, and they can improve their bone density. So there's a lot, from dietary to supplements to hormonal treatments that are not necessarily just toxic drugs, that can improve your bone density.
And doing the hormone replacement therapy doesn't necessarily have to mean, because I know everyone's talking about the pellet craze, but you are willing to take a more conservative approach as well. There are other ways to approach this.
Yeah, like anything in medicine, I mean, I tend to go on the conservative side when I can, but I see merit in all of the different interventions. So a lot of my women, I can get them controlled, and my men too, with topical creams or injectables versus pellets.
All right, but in general, I mean, the whole show today, we're just talking about diagnostic. You say the future is here.
The future is here. It's exciting, and so I think it's time to not be scared, because many of us are nervous to do testing like that. We don't want to hear bad news, you know, but now we're getting the information early enough that the news doesn't have to be that bad. It's all reversible or treatable.
All right, Dr. Coach, as always, it's such a pleasure to have you on Bloom.
Yes, thank you.
All right, we're going to share Dr. Coach's story on BloomTampaBay.com. And when we come back, how everyday toxins and makeup are throwing off your blood screenings and impacting your overall health. Bloom will be right back. You're watching Bloom, presented by Lifeguard Imaging, saving lives through early detection. Call now 813-582-5222 to schedule your scan today. Welcome back to Bloom. Today we're highlighting diagnostic trends, which includes testing for toxins from products that we use every day. Here with ways to bring those levels down and create an eco-friendly beauty routine is beauty editor Donna Francis. Donna, it is always great to see you.
Thank you so much for having me again.
So April is World Earth Day, and so, or month, I should say. And typically when we talk about the environment, people think, oh, well, we're going to save our planet. But really, we need to be conscientious about this for our own health. It is unbelievable what is seeping through our skin and creating toxins within our bodies and disrupting our health.
Yeah, there's a stat out there that says that apparently the average person ingests the equivalent of a credit card weight of plastic every week, which is very, very scary. And when you consider there's 7 times more plastic in the ocean than there are fish, then makes you realize, you know, what is out there and what we can be can be seeping into our skin.
Yeah, and I've always said this again and again, every time we do stories. If saving our earth is not going to motivate you to try to change your ways, then maybe the fact that what we're eating, what we're digesting, what we're putting on our skin, it's all getting into our body, and it's causing people to have thyroid problems, hormone imbalances, hair loss, all the things. So what can we start to do when it comes to our beauty products to just better our health?
Yeah, we just need to educate ourselves a little bit more. I mean, there are certain ingredients, there are certain parabens that you have to look out for in products that can actually be very toxic for our bodies. And parabens are the ingredients that make moisturizers creamy, and they make everything feel soft. And a lot of them are banned now, but there are still some in the cheaper, more mass market products that we have to be careful of.
And there's a lot of greenwashing that, companies can just use terms that make you think, oh, okay, I can trust this brand. But that's not the case at all.
No, you have to be very aware of the right labels to look out for. Leaping Bunny is a great label because that suggests that a product is safe for, it's great for the environment, it's cruelty-free. That's a really good label to look out for. But you can just get the generic labels on products, but that doesn't actually mean that they're safe.
Okay, we're looking at some generic labels right now. So talk me through what we're looking at.
Well, actually, most of those don't mean a thing. The B at the top left-hand corner, that is the kind of gold standard. If you see that, then you're okay. That's the gold standard that says that a brand has really researched into their ingredients and says that it's, a safe product. But there are very few brands that actually have that B standard accreditation. The frog at the bottom, that is the Rainforest Association. That is something to look out for too.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one. But the rest, surprisingly, are not actually, they don't mean anything.
So we're looking for the bee, we're looking for the frog.
Yes, and then the Leaping Bunny isn't on there, but it's pretty obvious what it is. It's just a bunny in a circle, and that's a really great one to look out for too.
And we're in the green zone with that. We're safe,
you're
we're
safe.
good to go.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the importance of ocean-friendly beauty. What does that even mean?
Well, sun care, for example, you can get some ingredients in your sun care products that can really bleach, the reefs out there. They can poison the fish. So you need to look for products that are reef friendly and sun and ocean friendly too. There are more and more that are coming out now, so it's a great way of just being more environmentally friendly, especially where we live in Florida.
And again, we need to keep reiterating, everything that you do for the environment, you're also doing yourself a favor, because the friendlier it is for Mother Earth, the friendlier it is for our bodies, and we're interconnected.
100%. It's just about educating yourself.
So how do you know if a product, you showed us some of the labels to keep an eye out for, any other ways to know that we're using eco-friendly products?
Yeah. Have a look at the ingredient list, because the less ingredients there are in a product, the better. The more that it's bulked out, you know that it's kind of a little bit of a hint that it could be worse for the environment and for yourself.
Okay, so things to keep an eye out for. Any other trends that you're seeing for spring and summer?
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is, plastic waste is a huge problem for the environment, and we need to be more mindful about how we're recycling everything. I mean, in America alone, there's something like 8 million units of beauty trash that ends up in landfill every year, which is really scary. And there are more brands now that are using recycled plastic and better kind of packaging, so that's not going to be the case in the future. So I just think you just need to be more mindful about your shopping habits, and also don't waste things. I think we've become such a consumer-led society. We need to just be a bit more mindful of do we actually need all those lipsticks?
Yeah, that is so true. That is so true. And I think too, like you mentioned earlier, more and more companies are really trying to do business the right way. So get to know your company and become loyal to the people that are trying to become self-sustaining or plastic-free, or there, you know, we're seeing a lot of movement. And if you align yourself with a company like that, then you know you're safe.
100%, and a lot of them are also aligning with charities. So if you do a little bit of research, some of them, the greenwashing ones, won't be aligned with all the amazing charities that are out there for wildlife, etc. So if you just look into the background and what they're doing, then you'll know you're with a good brand.
And before you're walking into your neighborhood Sephora or Ulta or wherever you go, or even your drugstore, know your brands.
Yeah, exactly. Also look out for things like TerraCycle. There are organisations like TerraCycle that are partnering with these companies like Sephora, etc., that offer free recycling. So if you bring your beauty products into them, they will dispose of it. Because if you just rely on your local recycling, they don't know what to do with the lids and all the pipettes, etc. So if you take your products into these stores, they will do it all for you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. It's always such a pleasure seeing you.
Thank you so much.
All right, we're going to share Donna's tips with you on BloomTampaBay.com. But first, it's time for today's Bloom Trivia question. Which type of plastic waste is most commonly found in mountain regions, contributing significantly to plastic pollution? Plastic packaging materials, single-use plastic bags, plastic water bottles, or plastic straws? We'll have the answer later on Bloom. Welcome back to Bloom. We're looking for ways to have better diagnostic outcomes, and adding a smoothie into your diet could do the trick, but you have to make sure you're using the right ingredients. Joining me now is the author of Beyond Fasting and the co-founder of the Pampa program, Dr. Daniel Pampa. Dr. Pampa, what a pleasure and privilege it is to have you on Bloom.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yep.
And so you came up with this shake I love as a way to get your kids to drink healthy foods.
It is. That's why I call it the Tigger shake. Because, well, I'll date myself a little bit, but bouncing Tigger, right?
Yes.
You know, everyone wanted the energy of Tigger, and I told them if they drink this, they're going to be like Tigger and have all the energy. Okay, adults, it works for you as well. But, you know, it does. It gives you bounding energy because of the ingredients, and more than that. I mean, it's anti-aging, anti-inflammatory, which means it's good for the brain, the heart, and everything we need.
Okay, so how do we put this Tigger? Because I want to have the energy of Tigger too.
Okay, one of the key ingredients, this is why I developed this for my kids, because my kids hate vegetables, okay, even to this day as adults, okay. So, romaine lettuce, believe it or not, is one of the healthiest foods on the planet. I say believe it or not because we don't think of lettuce as offering like the perfect ratio of vitamins and minerals, but it does. Natural vitamin C. Natural beta carotene, so it's obviously good for the eyes and the skin, but natural folate. So there's a warning out there. Many supplements people are taking today have something called, it's a synthetic form of folate. And that synthetic form is actually not good for you. So we want natural forms, and then there's a perfect mineral ratio in here. It has calcium, it has actually perfect ratios of magnesium, zinc, so it's good for your bones, good for your brain.
Awesome.
But we just do this,
and
put
pop
it in,
right
and
in.
these are kind of small. I put usually just a big, I don't put the end as you notice, but I just put these parts, the tops, there you go. And then we want protein. I heard you talking about weight loss, right? The key, many people who struggle to lose weight, actually they lack protein because they start losing muscle, right? Especially as we age, right? We don't want to lose muscle.
No.
It affects the brain and it affects our ability to lose weight. So therefore, we want some good absorbable protein. Collagen, peptides, you know, that's a good one. But there's many forms. If you're into bodybuilding and more muscle, whey protein can actually be good. I'm not going to dig for that, but there's a scoop in there.
Okay.
But we're going to put about 1 scoop in there, so like that. Okay, because it's lettuce, right? We want some natural blueberries, and blueberries are loaded with antioxidants. Low carbohydrate, high fiber, everything that we need today that we lack. So I love the blueberry romaine combination with the protein. Some of you, not all of you, may want a little stevia in there just to give it a little sweetener. You don't need a lot. Okay. Now, choices. You can use milk alternatives. Cashew milk, caution. Many of them have canola oil in them. Don't like that. Almond milk, fine. Just get a natural unsweetened one. Grass-fed milk. is a good alternative. They have the A2 because many people have allergies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
You were saying, what is
Yeah,
the A2?
too.
Yeah. So honestly, I prefer good old grass-fed raw milk, but the key is grass-fed. And if you do have an allergy, then the A2 is now available even in Whole Foods.
Okay.
That's the ancient cow before they actually changed it to produce more milk.
started
So I don't
pumping
know
it full of-
how much you know of that.
Right, a lot.
Okay, so now look, this is also another thing. Because we want fat and good protein, I like to put a half of an avocado.
This is
in it.
amazing.
And look, here's some alternatives. If you struggle with weight loss or diabetes, cinnamon. It actually helps deliver the nutrients into the cell. You could use honey instead of stevia. Add more fat, some almond butter, especially if you have some almond milk, and some cacao powder. Why? Because brain fog. I call cacao powder brain fog food because literally it helps the brain because it dilates vessels. There's so much potassium in there and many other antioxidants that help the brain and the heart. So, all right.
He's gonna zip this all up. We've got 30 seconds left, but while he's blending, I want to tell you to follow this man. He is legendary. People want to hear what he's got to say.
Sorry.
About health and wellness.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, should I stop? I don't know. I'll go slower. How's that?
No, it's perfect.
So, believe it or not, it tastes better than you would think. Oh my gosh, romaine lettuce.
All right, I'm going to be drinking this. We're going to share the recipe, and we'll be back with more Bloom right after this. You're watching Bloom, presented by Lifeguard Imaging. We begin where your checkup ends. Call now, 813-582-5222 to schedule your scan today. Welcome back to Bloom. We're helping you have better diagnostic outcomes today, and long-term alcohol misuse could impact your brain, nervous system, heart, liver, and pancreas. Here with ways to get on a road to recovery is Phoenix Tampa board member Troy Fowler and Vice Chair Taylor Waltlis. Welcome to Bloom, gentlemen. It's so great to have you.
Thank you for having us.
So I know Phoenix Tampa has done so much incredible work in the community. It's been here for a very long time, and it really is open to anyone who needs to get on the road to recovery.
Absolutely. I think that recovery happens in the context of relationships, and addiction and alcoholism, terrible disease. And as a parent of an alcoholic, it's tough because the things that you think you're doing to help oftentimes are hurting, and that you become an enabler. And so getting our son to visit with the Phoenix and others like Taylor that are in recovery and building a community can help greatly.
Yeah, I think, Taylor, you know, a lot of times when people don't know where to go, they kind of suffer in silence and feel all the shame, and they're trying to get a handle on their life, but they just can't. So having a place to go with the right people, the right community can make all the difference.
Absolutely. I mean, I got sober young. I was 25, and my social life really had been around drugs and alcohol. And when you decide, you make the decision that you want to live differently, like you have to kind of change people, places, and things. And for me, finding sober community is what really got and kept me sober long term. And at the time, Phoenix wasn't in Tampa, so I had to find that in other places, and it was a little harder to discover. But when I heard about the Phoenix from Troy and had the opportunity to get involved and really build a community with the group that we have here, that people like me that are looking for recovery can find others that are doing the same thing. I think it's an amazing thing to plug into if you're sober curious or you really have a problem and you need other people that have kind of walked that path to follow.
Yeah, I was glad you mentioned, because when I was researching Phoenix Tampa, I did see on the website where it said, you know, maybe you don't know whether you have a problem or not. Maybe you're sober curious and you realize that the road you're going on is not the right road. It helps to get help at the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that alcoholism addiction is a bit of a spectrum, and there's plenty of people that don't have a problem and they just want to live a sober life, and then there's people like me that really needed to quit drinking, and the Phoenix really offers activities for people that want to live a sober lifestyle, that are recovering from something. And it gives you an opportunity to kind of plug in and see what that group of people is about. And what you find on the other side of that is people that are super interested in health, community, faith in some way, shape, or form, wellness in many different facets, rather than going out to the bar and having drinks as a way to connect.
Yeah, and Troy, you talked about it too, like as family members, we think we know how to help, or we try to help, but many times we're just not the experts.
We are definitely not the experts, and I'll tell you that attending Al-Anon, Elizabeth and I attending Al-Anon really helped us quite a bit, because we are powerless as parents over this disease. And really, once you learn that you're powerless, you're really just turning your son or daughter or loved one over to this recovery community, and they're there with open arms, ready to welcome them, ready to build the community, to build the relationships that are going to help them to get in recovery and stay in recovery.
Yeah, and I think that's it. As soon as we bring it back to community, that's where the heart of this is because you're around so many different people that are there to support you, because whenever you feel like you're going to retreat or whatever triggers you to want to drink or lean into substance abuse, your family, your Phoenix family is there.
Right, exactly. And that's what it's all about, is building that community, rebuilding your social capital, increasing your self-awareness, increasing your confidence, self-esteem. It's all there within this community at the Phoenix. And the Phoenix incorporates a lot of different activities. It could be CrossFit, could be rock climbing, could be a movie night, could be bowling, could be pickleball. There are over 50 events that occur throughout our community every single month in the Tampa Bay area that you can plug into if you are 48 hours sober.
And you're saying this is part of it. Like you said, now you're around like-minded people instead of going to the bar and feeding into the problem.
Absolutely. I mean, and you see people that have transformed their lives, and you start to recognize that, like, wow, I don't have to live the way I'm living. There's an example for me to follow. And then we also expose people to lots of different modalities of recovery. So people get in, they see, hey, maybe this person got sober in 12-step. Maybe this person went to like a Buddhist-based recovery program. Maybe this person went to a treatment center. Maybe that's really my path. So this really becomes an entry point for people that want to be around sober fellows. And then it's also a place for people that are in recovery and they just want more community. They want to be around other people that are kind of walking a similar path.
Well, thank you both for sharing your stories today. I know it means a lot, and I know it means a lot to our viewers to understand what recovery means, and quite frankly, from your accounts, it sounds refreshing. So thank you both.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
All right, we're going to share everything you need to know on BloomTampaBay.com. We'll be back with more Bloom right after this. Living the Tampa Bay lifestyle means enjoying the sand, sun, and outdoors fun. So get out, get active, and nurture those healthy habits. Hey there, I'm Gayle, host of Bloom. Now there's a new all-inclusive place with everything you need to shape your lifestyle, boost your health, and improve your wellness. BloomTampaBay.com, Tampa Bay's premier health and wellness website, made to help you feel good. Whether you're a fitness fanatic, beauty buff, or just want to take your first step towards positive change, this free website is for you. See the Bay Area's hottest fitness products, the latest workout crazes, and learn nutrition tips from the experts. Plus, discover local events and experiences designed with your well-being in mind. Cultivate a healthy mind, body, and soul. Check out BloomTampaBay.com, your local health and wellness website. That's BloomTampaBay.com. Welcome back to Bloom. Women are taking to social media to share their IUD insertion experiences and the pain they're experiencing after the procedure, and they're urging healthcare professionals to have proper pain management to help. Joining me now to share her experience is Khadijah Daib. Khadijah, welcome to Bloom. It's such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So in your particular video that we were just looking at, and I watched it in its entirety, you were kind of taking us through the narrative of just the pain afterwards, but I'm sure you've seen the many women showing themselves as the procedure is taking place, and it seems excruciating. So why did you decide to share your experience, and why do you think other women are doing the same?
I think I wanted to show my experience because I was just so blindsided by it. Everybody made it seem like it is literally just a pinch. You go in and that's it. And I am lucky because I was actually numbed. Like hundreds of women in the comments of my video were talking about how they had no clue that numbing was even an option. So I just wanted to shed light on what the experience is actually like because there was no way that I could prepare for what happened after.
Yeah, somebody very close to me and my family had one inserted without any kind of pain management, and it was excruciating pain. So I think,
Yeah.
you know, from everything that I'm reading online, it's kind of like, hey, just urging doctors and healthcare providers to maybe take proper measures.
Exactly, yeah, and be a little more transparent with what it's like. I feel like it's a disservice. We keep hearing just a pinch, just a pinch. It's so much more than that, and I feel like if that rhetoric goes away, at least women can make more of an informed decision for themselves.
So what was your pain like afterwards?
Oh, I've never experienced pain like that. It was like on a scale of 1 to 10, like literally a 10, stabbing, cramping. I haven't had children yet, but I imagine like this is what I think childbirth feels like just constant for days on end.
Are you glad? I mean, I saw it on the Today Show. I mean, I believe the New York Times. I can't even begin to tell you how much traction this is getting. And I think it's interesting because a lot of times TikTok and other social media platforms can be used to spread the word about things that need the attention that, quite frankly, maybe it's not getting.
Yeah, no, I'm really glad that I made the video. I, like most people, never think that it's going to blow up when it does. But it kind of just became a sound box for people to share their experiences. Women shared stories of really like traumatic things happening to them afterwards. And I feel like more people could just have a whole bigger picture to make a decision for themselves based on like reading all of the comments.
Now, would you have made a different decision had you known what you were getting yourself into, or now that the pain has settled down, you're like, okay, this was the right route for me. I just would have liked to have known what I was signing up for?
Me personally, I definitely would have made a different decision. I actually ended up getting it removed because I just couldn't deal with the pain. So I would have never got it put in to begin with.
What was the removal process like?
That one was actually really quick. Nothing like insertion.
Yeah, because I have heard the same thing that like once you get it in, it's just not the right fit. And I don't mean a physical fit, but
Yeah.
how your body feels and how those hormones and how you react. It's not a one size fits all. I mean, figuratively, you
Literally.
know, right, and literally, correct.
And I'm also in healthcare, so I understand that this is a method that does work for people. And I'm not trying to scare anyone off from it. I just want people to be more aware of what could happen.
All right, Khadisha, thank you so much for sharing your story. It's been really helpful. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to post this story on bloomtampabay.com. We'll be back with more Bloom right after this. Welcome back to Bloom. The idea of a surgical procedure in the genital area can be very intimidating for guys, which is why many shy away from vasectomies. Joining me now to debunk some of these concerns is urologist Dr. Ankur Shah. Dr. Shah, welcome to Bloom.
Thanks for having me.
So people think about vasectomy and they right away you start having, they get nervous about a lot of things, guys do. Is there an increased risk for prostate cancer?
You know, that's a very controversial topic. There were some earlier studies that indicated that, but the consensus in the community is that there's no increased risk of prostate cancer with vasectomy.
Okay, that's good to know. The next one is that a lot of guys feel like they're going to feel like less of a man.
Well, the good news is vasectomy does not affect your ejaculate in any way. You have the same volume and, you know, has no impact on sexual function or erectile function.
You know, you always, see guys posting pictures on social media with, the frozen peas or whatever during the recovery.
Yeah.
Is the recovery painful?
You know, any surgery can be a little painful, but the recovery from vasectomy is pretty straightforward. The procedure only takes around 20 minutes. It's usually done in the office. and the recovery is a few days. So I generally do mine on Fridays, and you can be back at work on Monday.
Okay, that's good to hear. All right, the next question that a lot of guys have is, will it, impact my sexual performance?
No, it will not. It has no impact on sexual performance whatsoever. So that's a good thing for guys.
All right, another really big question for a lot of guys is, what if I change my mind and I decide I do want to have kids?
So vasectomy is intended to be permanent. So we always counsel guys in the office, you have to be absolutely sure. It's probably the most effective form of contraception. It's not immediate, meaning it takes 2 to 3 months for you to actually become sterile. However, guys, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. So
yeah.
it could take a little bit, but but once you have it and everything sets in, you're probably not going to have kids. I mean, I know it's not foolproof. I mean, you can still get a woman pregnant after having a vasectomy, but that's really slim to none.
It's 99.8% effective, so about a 1 in 2,000 risk of getting a woman pregnant afterwards, but otherwise it's intended to be permanent. However, if you decide to change your mind, there are options. You can do in vitro fertilization, where we harvest sperm directly from the testicle, and you go through cycles of that. Or you can have a vasectomy reversal. However, those are most effective within the first 3 years. Pregnancy rates are around 75%, but after the 3-year mark, it becomes less and less effective.
So, but the typical man that comes in is the man who, he's either doesn't want a family, or like in our case where my husband's like, okay, we're raising 4 kids now. I'm pretty much done here. Yeah. You got to make that life decision.
Exactly. You should make it with your partner and be very sure about your decision. But life kind of happens, so there are options if it doesn't.
All right. Well, we really appreciate you coming and debunking, some of the issues that guys think about, because it does. I mean, but it can change your life if you, have a vasectomy done. You're worry-free.
Yeah, you're worry-free. You just got to give it a few months. But,
All right. Thank you so much,
No
Dr.
problem.
Shaw. We really appreciate you. What we're going to do is we're going to share all of this information with you on bloomtampabay.com, and stick around. We have more Bloom after this. It's time for today's Bloom Trivia question. Which type of plastic waste is most commonly found in mountain regions, contributing significantly to plastic pollution? Plastic packaging materials, single-use plastic bags, plastic water bottles, or plastic straws? The answer is plastic packaging materials, which are often a major contributor to plastic pollution in mountainous areas because of their widespread use and difficulty in recycling. Well, thank you so much for tuning into Bloom today. You can catch Bloom anytime by following us on social media. We're on all major platforms, so get a behind-the-scenes look at all of the innovative, breakthrough health and wellness conversations and incredible guests that we have right here on Bloom. And don't forget to check out our podcast, The Bloom Health Club. You can catch it live on Facebook and YouTube on Mondays at 2 p.m. We take a deep dive and have extended conversations with some of the top guests that we have right here on Bloom. Of course, you can stream episodes anytime on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcast. Well, we hope you'll tune in again on the next Bloom presented by Lifeguard Imaging. The U.S. tops the global list of countries for spending on wellness, amassing an annual market of $1.8 trillion. We'll share what foods are worth investing in and how to deal with the rising cost of organic foods. And WFLA Chief Meteorologist and Climate Specialist Jeff Baradelli is sharing more about the new trend of climate adaptive wellness. So stay healthy, everyone, and I will see you on the next Bloom. Call now 813-582-5222 to schedule your scan today.